Good afternoon again. We are now at the Adani Solar, the largest Indian company, and which has reached to short span of time the biggest Indian company into renewable energy. With me, Mr. Rahul Bhutiani, Head of Sales and Marketing. He will share us the perspective of the Adani from few years down the line to biggest company and his future visions. Mr.
Thank you. As a quick background, Adani Solar is the manufacturing arm of the Adani Group for the renewable sector, solar manufacturing. And we have a different company which is in the generation side, which is Adani Green Energy. This way, we are straddling the renewable energy space. In the last 4 or 5 years of manufacturing and generation, we have gone ahead with a very clear vision and commitment to the sector, and that's maybe the result why you have mentioned that we have grown to be maybe the largest company in this sector. Our vision does not end here. Our chairman has very clearly announced that we are going ahead with a very significant investment in renewable sector. We will be, as a group, Adani Group is going to be investing over $70 billion in the renewable sector over the next few years. And a very large part of that is, or significant part of that is going to come towards manufacturing sector too. So we are setting up 3 Giga factories for solar manufacturing, for wind manufacturing, and for electrolyser manufacturing. So the manufacturing, approach to, or the vision for the country, for Adani, is by Adani is very clear. We want to have a good control on the entire supply chain so that we remove dependence on imports and take the country towards Atmanirbharta in earnest.
So while we're talking about the self-reliant, right? We are facing that the supply-demand gap is still there. Demand is very huge and supply is in not at that level which has to be. So that is delaying the all the ecosystem of the renewable ecosystem. It delays getting. So what do you feel? What has to be corrected with respect to government policies or the manufacturers that collaborative all put together we can reduce the imports and we can rely on the own individual insufficient self-reliant kind of technology.
Right. No, so that's a very good point. See, I believe that now in today's situation, we are there in terms of government policies, in terms of manufacturers' commitments, in terms of the entire country moving in the right direction to ensure the self-reliance. So government has come out with very good policies, both to encourage manufacturing in the country and also to promote demand in the country for locally manufactured products, and also to protect the domestic industry, manufacturing industry, from cheap imports. So with all this in place from the government side, we are also seeing equally good response from manufacturers of solar in the country, and a lot of commitments have been made, lot of announcements have been made. I believe in the next 3 years we should really be at a situation where we can proclaim to be independent of, or at least have no dependence on supply, or supply chain dependence on imports. We should be there in a couple of years. We need just 2 years before we can reach that stage.
So that's fantastic. By the 3 years down line, we will have no dependency on the other countries for the raw material or the any ecosystem which is part of the renewable energies. You said that you are also entering into the wind power and the rest of the things, right? So wind power is also being and big, and now the government is also seeking the hybrid system ecosystem, wherein the solar has some disadvantage, like the daytime we only get the power supply and nighttime we don't have the other system. That's why there is grid failure and chances may have to come. And storage has certain limitation. Energy storage we'll be discussing, it is very costly affair and that cannot be matched together. So only wind can survive. This combination system can be a great effort. So what are your perspectives of the hybrid system while we're speaking about, along with the storage? What would be the best composition has to be done, and by what time that will be very easily available for the common people?
No, see, the idea of the gig factory in Giga factory in solar manufacturing and wind manufacturing together is primarily to achieve the round-the-clock power generation that you were mentioning. One of the ways, of course, is just combining, make it a hybrid system where you combine solar and wind. The other aspect is merging it with battery storage facilities to ensure that it becomes RTC, in truly RTC. So every project will have to be evaluated on its own merits because wind may have certain limitations in terms of geography. Not every geographical location is suitable for wind power generation. So depending on the situation, depending on the project, there will be a combination that will have to be worked out, most ideal optimal combination of solar, wind and battery storage to ensure a RTC situation.
So in that case, that would be, I think, the couple of years we will be at the RTC level.
Yeah, I think we are there. We understand this whole perspective, and as battery technology emerges, evolves, I think we will be in a situation where we will be able to manage this renewable power generation around the clock.
That's great. So while speaking onto the market share, the Adani now enjoys the highest market share throughout the India. What about the exports? While the export is majorly considered by the Chinese manufacturers and all other countries will be majority stakeholders, how Adani sees the out of India market?
So international markets have become very responsive to Indian manufacturers. Not just Adani, I'm sure a lot of Indian manufacturers are seeing this positive uptake. And currently we already have very good success in the export market, especially the US. And we are already holding booked orders of over 1.5 gigawatts to be supplied over the next 12 months. I think the market timing is right. Indian manufacturers have great potential to export. There are countries which are actively trying to diversify the value chain and not just depend on China. So with that approach, I think we have a very good opportunity in front of us. Export should be a good opportunity for Indian manufacturers.
So coming to the development part, like I think the Adani has might be started with 285 watt peak panel, and now the largest panel you have is around 660, right?
Yes.
So what would be the future vision? Where the technology will going to end up by next couple of 3-5 years down the line? Do we get the 1000 watt panel in the same size or 1500 watt kind of scenario?
Right. So, the technology has been evolving, and what technology evolution has meant is the efficiency has gone up. So, we are seeing with the same footprint, we were almost the same footprint. We were offering 330 till 6 months back. We are now offering almost with the same footprint. We are offering 530, 540. So efficiency has gone up significantly because of the change in technology. From multi-crystalline modules, we have moved to monocrystalline modules. Going forward, and what we have shown in TopCon modules, where with the same footprint and a higher efficiency of technology, we are now in a position to offer maybe 570 watt peak modules, right? So this, of course, with a slightly different, layout structure, we will and a slightly different dimensions, we can offer up to 690 watt peak also under TopCon. The increase in efficiencies over a period of time is only going to help enhance the watt peak for modules. So maybe in a year or two, we will be able to see you realize your dream of 1000 watt peak module.
Fantastic. So in that case, coming to the conventional part of the solar panels, while everything to be mounted on the metal structures, right? The foreign countries are evolving with the BIPV technology, right? The building integrated photovoltaic, but it can be used as a roof or it can be used as a facade. So how do you see the Indian market are adapting, ready to adapt this kind of technology, or still we need to go 5-10 years downline into this scenario?
So, what this is my assessment. So maybe I am wrong in this assessment, but my assessment suggests that Europe is very big on BIPP, primarily because my belief is that Europe does not have as much land availability as maybe a country like India has. So while we while we are moving towards building architecture, which includes glass facades, where BIPV can be easily integrated, can be easily adopted, we are still not focused on creating or adopting that, because in BIPV, while it is a good way to introduce solar, it is not as efficient to consider all the design aspects. It's not very efficient, but it is an additional source of generation, especially when you're looking at creating a glass facade for a building. Then BIPV is a good option to adopt, and Europe has done it very, very well in the last few years. They have really adopted it very well. I think we will reach there maybe after a couple of years or maybe more. But, once we really realize that we really don't have as much more land as we have today, and then we will start looking at buildings and saying, okay, is there a way for me to enhance solar installation by even introducing BIPV in our building architecture?
So that's fantastic. Now coming to the part of the government vision, by 2050, government is willing to India make net zero
Right.
pollution free country. So, and being in renewable energy, wind, solar, or the other system, that cannot be achieved without this, right? And Adani has the other conventional systems wherein they are into entering into gas and that which is non-conventional source of energy. So, do you really feel that Adani, with the help of Adani, we can reach to that net zero level by 2050 or before that?
No, I think the vision is set. The challenge has been put to the industry and the country by the Prime Minister, that we need to get to this net zero situation earlier the better. And I think manufacturers in the country, businessmen in the country have responded very well to this vision and have taken steps that are possible for you to take along with the government and in line with the government vision and also the government policies, to ensure that we create that ecosystem which will take us to that level of zero carbon emission. So, in line with that, there is a PLI that the government has developed, PLI scheme, which I think a very significant chunk of that is going to be announced very soon, which will see a lot of participation from Indian manufacturers, and that should bring in a lot of domestic capacity. Once capacity is there and the will is there, I think we should be on our track to achieve this target. Whether we achieve it or not, I think we will end up for the better only. Even if we don't achieve it, if we get close to it also, it will be for the best for the future generations of the country.
Okay. While we talking about the PLI schemes, right? One more factor that is not much famous into Indian market is carbon credit.
Right.
While all the foreign countries or the companies are evolving that, and in fact many of the carbon credits are being sold by the Indian people, which is at very negligible prices, and they get the benefit of that is a very huge cost. And solar, I think where whoever is install the solar, they will be a part of the carbon credit facility, which is sort of add-on advantage. And I guess the many of the Indian organizations or the developers are not known to this. So, what do you feel that the what government has to do for to achieve the carbon credit so that everyone can get benefit out of this?
I think the carbon credits are already being traded, and there is awareness now increasingly among corporates also, especially with the focus on ESG, sustainability, and environment positivity. I think there is a lot of interest in that, and a lot of companies have understood this whole process and will continue to focus on that. I think maybe a few more platforms for trading, if they come up, it will only help benefit all the industry around us.
So that's great, Rahulji. Being in the highest player of the India and now being in news since so many months that Adani is world's third largest boost economy system or the highest valued company in the world. So it is very proud for the any Indian wherein the company like Adani or the Reliance or any other which can raise to that level within a short span of time, and being an very aggressive into renewable energy and the other segments. So it would be very great to be a support of that part. And in fact, we also, being a part of Industrial Outlook, we support the sustainable energy and system throughout the world, and support the Indian manufacturers on that part. So thank you very much for your time and support. So that and very glad you have shared so many insights of the industry and support part that can change the entire industry, and being a part of the government vision to net zero energy by 2050. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.